Okay, so as I said, tonight we're looking at Perfect Brilliant Stillness by David Carse. And this is what he has to say. So much worrying, so much anxiety, unrest, all the billions of body-mind organisms trying, longing, hoping, striving, struggling. Hardly one is free of that inner crying out, that quiet fear. Dukkha, suffering, it is the way of all the earth. Many times I say that the understanding is the teaching of non-duality. This teaching is not about comfort, not about helping the ego feel safe and comfortable. Self-realization is annihilation, pure and simple. The truth is that you are not. There can be no question of the you being comforted. And that is true. This is not about comfort, but about truth. If truth is to be known, the individual self is not to be comforted, but totally lost, annihilated, dissolved. There is no other way. There is no way to wake up while staying comfortably asleep. And yet, if only once, only for a moment, there would be a letting go. If there could be that pop of the shift in focus and the individual self seen beyond, seen for what it is, an echo, a rainbow, a phantom, and a dream, then there is something. Then the individual self is gone and needs no comforting. The individual self was simply a thought, an idea, a false imagination that cried out for comforting. When the true nature of things is seen, apperceived, that's a very important word. What he means here when he speaks about apperception is the seeing without the me. So when the true nature of things are seen, apperceived, then there comes something far beyond comfort, though there is nothing any longer that needs it. It is seen that what one is, all that is, and that is the constant outpouring of love beyond love, beauty beyond beauty, compassion, bliss, gratitude, glory, wonder, perfection, streaming, outpouring beyond comprehension. All that is described as Sat Chit Ananda, not a being, but being itself, not a being, but being itself, existence itself, not a thing existing. This is pure awareness, pure consciousness. Being, which is consciousness, is absolute, perfect, and knows no bounds, and spills out in itself, uncontained, and is always everything, everywhere. Now, this spilling out, this outpouring of being consciousness as itself is all of this universe, planet, worlds of senses and ideas, worlds of things and non-things, these bodies, these minds, these trees and roads and houses and squirrels and insects and telephones. All of this, everything, everywhere, is not as it appears, as some solid, separate material stuff. The physicists will tell you this. Look closely enough, and this body or this table are not solid substance, but are composed of molecules and then atoms and then subatomic particles, which themselves are not particles at all, but moments of energy. I am telling you that this energy, which everything is what you are, is consciousness, being, outpouring itself in itself. This is what is called Ananda, because the very nature of consciousness, outpouring in itself, is perfect, perfect love, beauty, completion, bliss. This streaming is what is perceived as all this crazy world, including the body-mind you think is you. But in truth, when seen as it is, this is not you. This car is not a car. These groceries are not groceries. These are all pure love, light, consciousness, bliss streaming here. This is obvious. It is seen here always, and once seen, it cannot not be seen. It is inexpressible. There is no way I can communicate this without sounding like a blathering nutcase or like Dr. Brona's bottle, but it's true. All is well. All is so incredibly well. Everyone is asleep and does not see it. And so they lead lives of quiet desperation, lives of anxiety and fear. But those few who are awake and see it witness life being lived in constant, total amazement. And since everything is literally made out of pure love beyond love, streaming, since this pure love beyond love is the stuff out of which is made everything that we perceive as creation, how then can anything, the smallest thing, not be well? Everything, the smallest thing, is God, is self, is your own true nature, and the true nature of all that is pure awareness, pure love, outpouring as itself. The human race truly has no idea what love is. I cannot give comfort to the individual self that seeks it, Perhaps in some limited way others can, telling stories here in the dream that bring about some fictitious comfort to those fictitious selves. But when there can be total letting go of that idea of being a separate self, then what is seen is the love, compassion, bliss that you are, and that the slightest thing is. If nothing else, trust me on this. There is no way anything at all cannot be well. All is perfection, pure bliss, love outpouring. Any perceptions to the contrary are simply not true. All is well, totally. So,
Where did he first start talking about the outpouring as the manifestation, or the manifestation as the an outpouring?
well, he actually, he does it throughout the book, but I'll look for it in this chapter. I'll look for it in this chapter.
He was when
I'm not sure. Hmm. This spilling out, this outpouring of being consciousness as itself is all of this, right? So, in other words, he's saying what some scientists, not all, but what some scientists are saying, that the ground of all being, primary, is not matter, but consciousness. And consciousness sometimes is used synonymously with awareness. I kind of think, because this is according to another sage, Nisargadatta, I kind of agree with him and John Wheeler, who say that consciousness, even consciousness, appears in pure awareness. Because, you can be conscious and unconscious, but you're never not aware. Even in deep sleep, when woken up, it's so amazing how you might say, I slept well, or I didn't sleep well. There's some awareness that remains. So fundamentally, what non-duality is saying, and what he's saying here, is that there is only one reality. And you are that reality. You're not separate from it. So there's just pure, non-conceptual awareness. And we are not separate from that. How do we know this? Because we have awareness of everything that changes. An important question is always, what in your life experience that you've experienced in your life has never changed? What has never changed? The body has certainly changed. The mind changes constantly. Senses are constantly changing. Opinions change, conclusions change. Everything is constantly changing.
Ideas and beliefs.
Ideas, beliefs keep changing. But what has never changed? That awareness, because it's all appearing in awareness. in non-conceptual awareness, which David Carse just said is what your true being is. And that's what all the sages say. That is what your true being is, because you cannot be that which you can see. Otherwise, you wouldn't see it. So, how can I then really be this body? And as he said here, when you look under that high-powered electron microscope, there is nothing solid.
Mm-hmm.
So if the body is not solid, and it keeps changing, the body mind is not solid, right? And when you look at the smallest of things under that microscope, it's mostly empty space and particles and subparticles and elementary particles, which are even smaller. So then, who am I? The question has to come, then what am I? Who am I? And the answer here, according to these teachings, is you are pure non-conceptual awareness. And that's not personal. It's not my awareness and your awareness, because remember, there's only one reality. So then, if it's not personal, and it indeed is the ground of all being, then was it ever born? Can it ever die? The body was born and the body will die, for sure. But your true nature, awareness, non-conceptual awareness, that does not die. That's life itself. That's our true nature. And what's so beautiful in this little chapter is how he points to, and that's from his experience, of an outpouring, a constant outpouring of, some people call it bliss or love or peace. Well, actually, he's pointing to love. And that's what Krishnamurti would always refer to. It's not love as we know it, which is the opposite of hate. This love has no opposite because it's the ground of all being, and it is what you are.
There was, at the beginning of what you read, Evelyn, there was something which was talking about the individual self is gone and needs no comforting. The individual self was simply a thought, an idea, a false imagination that cried out for comforting.
Right.
That's exactly how I see it. So when he said it was simply a thought, that's the kind of thing that I've been talking about. That basically without a thought of the ego can't exist. The ego doesn't exist.
Right.
The ego only exists because we perpetuate this notion of this false self, this
Correct.
notion of a separate self,
Correct.
which he's talking about. And so I agree, and I love what he's talking about. I just also feel at the same time that I feel like these teachings are incredibly comforting to the self. In other words, if we recognize that we're not this egoic self, then, and because in part of what he was talking about, he was saying everything's perfection, pure bliss, everything is well, all well, totally kind of thing. And so I think it's like the ultimate release, really, of, there's nothing to fear ever again because we're not this separate self. We're not the body. We're not, um, we're not able to be hurt, basically. The self that we, with a capital S, that we truly are is eternal. It's one. And so I find that the idea of that or the experience of that to be incredibly um, comforting, grounding, and
Chip,
And
I
freeing.
think that is kind of like the ultimate peace.
Yes.
Chip. So, do you, following up on that idea, do you hear him saying that the entire phenomenal manifestation is this outpouring of love, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm. So, despite the depravity, brutality, suffering that one might point to in a phenomenal tour of the phenomenal
World.
world. Uh, he's maintaining that it's all a manifestation of an outpouring of pure being love.
Well, excuse me.
Mhm.
I think what he's saying is that this this suffering world is part of this dream, and we are dream characters. Because in other parts of the book, he goes into that and explains that, as some other teachers have done.
Yeah.
Because what is reality if nothing is really solid?
Hmm.
Then what is reality and what is the ultimate reality? But at this level that we live, on this level of the dream, or at this level
Of the
of the
waking
waking
state. Yeah.
dream, the
The
waking
waking
dream,
state.
yes, there is pain and there's suffering and there's hatred, which is the opposite of love, all these things. But that's not what he's saying is our true being.
Mhm.
And that's a wonderful question. Then what am I? What is my true being? Not my well, the ego is asking, what is my true being? And that's fine. But then we've got to go beyond that, because even the ego is appearing in awareness.
Right.
And even the ego is constantly changing. So awareness is the background, or the is what we fundamentally are, and what is constantly appearing in that awareness, appearing and disappearing, appearing and disappearing. But awareness is not appearing and disappearing, right? Even now.
The waking state.
Well, even in the waking state.
waking.
So, but in the dream, there's the witness of
Yeah.
the dream.
That's true.
Yeah, and I think that the waking state also, I think the more we get into it is really just like you were saying, Evelyn, is just really a dream. It's the waking dream, the dream dream. They're both basically dreams by nature, I think.
Right, right, right.
But if I may ask, his writings are a byproduct of living on the edge of fear, like maximum cortisol release. I mean, was he having an out of death experience? I mean, do you have to go to that extreme to experience it? Can
You
you
know,
reach it through love, or can you only reach it through fear?
oh, that is such a good question.
Mhm.
Dina, that's such a good question. And it can't, yes. You see, to wake up to it, you don't have to be on the edge of fear. You can be in a deep, abiding, genuine feeling of love. Absolutely. The thing is that this awareness is always here. It's just like he said, we're asleep, we're sleepwalking.
Right.
So, right, do I have to be hanging off the edge of a cliff to wake out of this dream? No. For many people, maybe yes, but no, not at all.
I think it's just the willingness to let go. He said that also at a certain
Yeah,
point. He said, if only for a moment you can just let go, of that egoic self,
yes,
then then the self with a capital S is here right now.
right,
All we have to do is relinquish just for a moment. So it's available to us right in here, right now.
correct, right.
So
That,
interesting.
that's right. That's right. And so, some people say, well, so what? Why, why should I care about this? What, how will it benefit me? Why should I even care about this? Well, if you really care about not only you not suffering, but other people not suffering, if that's really something that you care deeply about, then the question has to be, can there ever be an end to this? It's certainly the answer is not going to be found through the mind that created this. So there has to be something else through which an answer to this can come. And what is that something else? Well, if for a moment we're able to pause thought and pause this egoic chatter that's constantly going on, then there's a taste of just pure being. And the feeling of it is spaciousness and such a wonderful sense of peace. And it's a peace that it can't be disturbed.
Mm.
So no, it doesn't benefit you in terms of I don't know. Well, maybe I was going to say being more successful, although I don't know. I know Krishnamurti used to always say that you function even better when when there is a releasing of this me. There's more creativity. There's more of a functioning. Most artists will tell you that too, right, Paul?
Sure.
They say when I'm painting, uh,
So
and there's no sense of a me, that's when it's most creative. As soon as the mind comes in with the worries and the fears and the doubts,
Sure.
you're lost.
Well, Krishnamurti goes on to say that the only time you're really creative is when you're not thinking, when the brain is not engaged in the act of thinking. So it's what he says is beautifully said, but it's complicated because I think you can't go where he wants to go without initially, which you got into asking the wheeler question, who am I? And if you get to a point in life, if you get to a point in life that question comes into your mind or somebody has given you that question and you start thinking about it, that's maybe that's the beginning of some of the squeak in the door that's been closed starts to loosen up a little bit.
Mhm.
But you have to go there because all of this stuff is based on the ability of the brain to accumulate experience.
Yeah, well,
Thought, some memory.
he's
Mm.
gone there and he's trying to report back and share his experience so it can maybe a portal into your own experience.
Well, but what I'm no, but what I'm getting at is that it's the accumulation of experience that creates the ego. You're not
Right.
born with
Yeah.
an
Yeah.
ego.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
very true.
something that's created, and it's created day by day as you exit the womb.
Mm.
Hmm.
Mm.
So that's something I think that needs to be. I don't know how to explain it because I guess what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to preach something which I can't do, and that is that you without having an awareness of self and what it does, awareness of what thought does, and an awareness of that all of our troubles come from thought. And what Krishnamurti preaches is you pause thought and you've entered a different world, if you can pause thought,
Hmm.
Mm.
because that's where all the problems are in our ability to remember experiences, and we don't remember them completely because we don't remember them completely because we live in a conditioned world that doesn't allow us to see
Mm.
reality.
Mm. Well,
And so
yeah.
that gets complicated.
Well, you see, Ugo, I think what you're pointing to is that our life experiences from childhood on have us create an image of ourselves, a picture of who we are, what we are. Um, and usually it's got many flaws in that image, many things that we're not so happy about, but sometimes it's an aggrandizement of an image. And that image is what we identify with. That image is how we go through life with that identification of that image. What he's suggesting here is can you drop that identification? And can you now identify with that in you which never changes? Can you no longer identify yourself as this me with all the hurts, with all the joys, with everything that we've all been through? Can you drop that? That's the letting go that Chip was talking about. Letting all of that go and just be fully present in the moment as pure being, as pure non conceptual awareness, no concept,
Being present with no movement of thought.
just pure
Being.
being.
Yeah.
Can we do that? And then what is that like? What there's just that's so beautiful because then there can't be any judgments, then there can't be any criticisms.
Mm.
Then how? Because that's all attached to the image of me, the image that I've created about myself, the preferences. I love this, I hate that. That's all of us do this.
Yeah, but really, you haven't created an image of yourself. It's
Oh,
been the condition. Well, it's been the condition that you live in and how you've been
yes,
brought up, and so
yes.
on and so forth. That shapes how you are. That gives you your value system. That gives you how you see things, and that's part of your conditioning. And I don't think you can separate a discussion of this type without really being aware of that because I've experienced moments when or I don't know how long they are, maybe they're milliseconds, where there's no me.
Yeah, well, that's the point.
But yes, I can say, yeah, that proved that eventually got to be a confirmation that yes, there is something beyond this thing that I call a Yugo.
Yeah, so we're all a product of our prior conditioning. And on an everyday lived basis, that conditioning is center stage in my consciousness and my awareness as the image that I have about myself.
Right.
And it shapes all my interactions. That's the ego that's center stage in most of my everyday dealings. But if I sit quietly and there's no movement of thought, then I experience the brilliant, the perfect brilliant stillness of my being without the interference of that chatter. It's like, it's like we're all naturally, like Chip was saying, the awareness is inevitably there for us. It's always there. So it's like we're all pure, glowing beings. However, I'm not glowing with the radiance of brilliant stillness love because I'm chattered to myself. I'm compromised. I'm sitting under a shadow. But
You're
if I
engaged in
could come
thought.
and turn the dial down, and then my clarity returns, my generosity returns, my goodness returns, my appreciation for beauty returns. My gratitude returns. I'm an entirely different being than the shadow of myself that limps along, worried about this and worried about that, and trying to get this desire and worried about pleasing that one. That's all the work of the ego. But I can have a moment of clarity where I see that that's not my true nature. And that's beyond the conditioned mind.
Well,
And
that's a state of being choicelessly aware
Correct.
yes,
at the moment.
Right.
and that's what he's
That's the
trying.
Right.
thing I think that
Right.
really, for me, has meant a lot to get an understanding of what this is.
Well, this is
Yeah.
what he's trying to point us back to.
I want to tell you, I remember a number of years ago, we were on the beach. I think actually it was in Florida with friends, Ann and Stan. And he's a writer, she's a musician. Anyway, the four of us were on the beach. And at sunset, the sun was beginning to set. And in that moment, not a word was spoken, and there was this stillness, and it was like we were all that sun setting and that sky. It was not separate from us. It was just one.
Mm,
It was just one,
communion.
and then just a minute or two later,
Seconds later.
or seconds later, the four of us said, "Oh, what was that?" For a moment, there was no me, the four of us. There was no me. There was just pure being. And there was no separation between the being and the sun setting. It was oneness, it was a wholeness. And it was wonderful because it was felt by the four of us at the same time. So I guess my point is that we have all experienced those moments free of a me,
Hmm.
all of us. And that's usually when there's creativity. And it's as Paul was saying, there's that feeling of love and generosity and just beauty, pure beauty, beauty of being, beauty of being.
What a beautiful experience, Evelyn. What a wonderful
Mm,
thing to be able to
Yeah,
have
yeah.
share.
yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, well, okay. So do you think we stop now or?
Anyone have
Um,
any? Yeah, go ahead.
yeah,
I used to, I'm actually a friend of Paula Namer's.
Yes.
So she
Oh.
put me, she put me in touch with you. I'm a recent friend, but we've become fast friends because I teach her poetry. So
Ah,
so it's been a joy getting to know her. Um, and I couldn't make last week, but I'm hoping to make many coming up. So I missed a few minutes at the beginning. I'm just wondering, the book that I have by Krishnamurti is the one that says, think on these things. But which book are
yeah.
you reading from?
Okay. I'm not reading the next time we will be reading Krishnamurti, but this time we're reading from, it's called Perfect Brilliant Stillness
Oh, great
by,
title.
yes, by David Carse.
Okay, that's why you kept referencing him. That made sense. Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes. And yes, I encourage you to pick up the book. I think you can even get it online
Okay.
for free.
Okay.
Yeah,
I like having things in my hand though to work through it.
I do.
Tactile. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes.
What a great title. Perfect Brilliant Stillness. And that's what we're after.
Yeah.
Yes, correct.
That's what we're in quest of. Perfect
Correct.
Brilliant Stillness.
Yes, 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 yes.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
And it's interesting that this is the only thing he wrote.
Yeah.
Oh, this is his life's work.
Yeah, well, he had this experience. He wrote this book, and then from what we know, he went back to being a carpenter in Massachusetts or Maine,
Vermont.
Vermont or whatever. And so it was like he didn't get on the guru circuit, so to
Well,
speak.
because
He was nothing else for him to say, and he,
well, you know, some people teach, other
Yeah.
people don't. It's
Yeah. Yeah. And maybe he didn't want to be gurified. Maybe he felt that people would
Yeah.
find their way through
Yeah.
his book. I mean,
Mhm.
whatever he felt, at least
Yeah.
he's left that tome, that testimony.
right. And you know, it's interesting because Krishnamurti always said, don't make me a guru.
That's he did, exactly. That's what I was picking up on.
Yes.
Yeah. Which
yeah.
makes him all the more credible from my perspective.
Yes,
yes,
of course.
Yeah.
Of course, of course. So we will at some point, yes, we will be reading
Oh, well, whoever you read, it'll be very
yes,
interesting. I'll
yes.
come
yes.
along and listen.
Oh, good, good. I'm glad you were able to join. Are you Denise?
Yes.
Oh, okay, good. Happy
Yeah.
to meet you.
Likewise, yeah. And then there's one other person that she put in touch with you called Dolores, but I don't know if she's managed to hook up. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, maybe next time.
Yes, yes.
For sure.
Sure.
Okay. All right, folks.
Okay, so
We'll call it a night.
stop for tonight. Thank you all for coming.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very
Thank you.
much.
Good night,
Ciao.
Hugo.
Ciao tutti.
Thank you guys.
Ciao.
Bye-bye.
Ciao.
Bye, Chris. Bye.
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 Bye-bye, everybody.